Well, I was going to show you how to make a mini box out of the patchwork canes that I used for the bracelet and the pendant, but then I thought, you know what, I already showed something with that. So let's do a mini box with something else. All you need is one of your metal cutters. Yeah, you can only do this with the metal cutters or whatever cutters you have that can go in an oven. I'm doing this on scrap clay, but of course you can start directly with a nice piece of clay. And what you do first, you take the measure of your cutter. So that is a strip of clay that is through the thickest setting on your machine, and you just put it around your cutter and get exactly the measure of how long of a strip you need. It will get longer, but you need to start from somewhere. So because I have scrap clay, I am going to use some flower canes that one of my subscriber, who is wonderful, Chanel, sent me. And I'm covering the scrap clay with silver foil. Now, if you start with fresh clay, you don't have to cover it unless you want to make things prettier. So I'm going to just cut slices from my little flower canes, put them on the silver foil, and then cover them with translucent clay on the thinnest setting. I'm taking out the extra clay with a lot of care not to cut underneath, of course, and then I will use my roller to kind of even it out until it gets to the point of being able to go through the pasta machine on the thickest setting. Once I got that, and if you started from brand new clay and you don't want to do any pattern on the inside of your mini box, you can skip this step that follows altogether, because whatever I'm doing double-sided is because I have this ugly looking scrap clay, right? So I'm measuring again so I don't have too much scrap clay to cover. And then I will do it the exact same thing I did on the front, on the other side of the scrap clay. Because it will have to go twice through the pasta machine, the side that I made the first will be kind of distorted with the flowers very big, so that's the side that I'm going to use for the inside. And the side that I am doing now, I will use for the outside of my little box. Now you can use any kind of shape cutters you want. These look the prettiest done with heart shaped cutters, but I have no heart shaped cutters, so I'm just making one with the round ones. You can make a very nice mini boxes for whatever you want, like pill boxes, jewelry, you name it. They are even pretty as Christmas ornaments. You can put all kinds of stuff, just don't use it to burn something in there. So now that I got both my sides covered, you see that I'm using the one that's more distorted for the inside. Place the strip on your cutter with a lot of care to not trap air bubbles. That's the most important thing. And then cut so it will be about half a millimeter shorter. Just lift it again and pull gently until you can get those two together, and it just happened that they match. One of the flowers matches perfectly. In my case, I didn't know it would happen, but it just happened. And then you take your rigid blade and you trim all around. Just don't throw anything because you will be able to use all those trimmings, especially if you're dealing with scrap clay. I did that to make sure that everything is well stuck to the cutter. I'm doing a second fine trimming, and then it will be ready to go in the oven. Because it is something that's supposed to kind of last, I'm going to bake it for about 50 minutes. You can bake it for an hour if you want. While it's baking, I'm taking another piece of scrap clay, and you see all that big clay, big piece that I got from doing the strip. I put that on one side, and then on the other side, I put all the little scraps. And um, I will flatten it a bit. See, this is where I put the other pieces, bigger pieces, and this will be my inside. But on the other side, I'll do again the whole shebang. I'll do the silver foil, and then I will cover it with slices of flower canes, and then I will cover it with translucent, a thin sheet of translucent, and then I will flatten that out, and then I will pass the whole thing through the pasta machine on the thickest setting. Of course, I will get that other side, the one with the biggest pieces, that will get more distorted. And as I said, I will be using that for the insides of my box, because I think that you'll have the bottom and the sides and the inside of the lid. So if you are using scratch clay from scratch, you don't have to do that, because especially if you're using a pretty color like a wasabi or a wisteria, that's going to be pretty enough. Also make sure that you kind of match it, and don't do like me, because look what I did. I didn't clean my roller, and I started picking up all the stuff that was there, so I had to patch that spot. So after going through the pasta machine on the thickest setting, you see I have one side that looks prettier and the other side that is quite distorted. Now, what you want to do, your sides are baked. Get a paring knife. Don't try to use your X-Acto knife because it's not sturdy enough to do this. And then start on the side of the cutter that's not the cutting one. Find a spot you can insert the knife, and then just go ahead and keep rolling it around, and keep rolling it around, and until slowly your cutter will start coming out, until you can actually grab it with your hand and pull it out. And then what you need to do, clean your cutter first, and then you need to cut one piece. Make sure that you have enough room on your sheet for two bigger cuts and one smaller cut. That will be the inside of my lid. I will take that out just because I want to turn back on the other side the sheet, so I can pick exactly what shapes I want. And then I will choose two spots that I think have more flowers and are prettier. Place the baked part of your little box, and then use your X-Acto knife to cut the shape all around it. The second one, I will be cutting it off camera, just because in order to see what I'm doing on the side that's far away from me, I kind of had to go with my head at top of it, and I don't think you would have been interested in seeing the top of my head instead of what I'm doing there. So, okay, I am cutting the second part. Now, one of those will be the bottom of your box, and the other one will be the top. So, between the two, after you check the edges, make sure that you have no straggle, thin shreds of clay. Pick which of them you want to be your bottom and which of them you want to be your top. Of course, the top, you will not be able to see the outside unless you pick up the box and you turn it upside down. But, so I've chosen my top, And I will take the piece I have cut, turn the top around, and then place the piece that I cut right in the middle of it. Be careful, that is very, very important. Rearrange it several times if you need, but place it right in the middle of it, because when you put the lid on, that's what's going to keep it from sliding. Then get your sides and place some liquid clay, and then take the other tile. See, I have tiles that have two sides, of which one it's not shiny, so I can bake stuff directly on it. And place your sides on the bottom. Make sure that you have the side that you've chosen to be the inside facing up. I've chosen some a magenta pearl to do the little trims that look like ribbons. The first one you place, because you still have some liquid clay there, you place right on the outside of the bottom. And make sure, because no matter how you cut, it will be slightly smaller than the sides of the box. And place it, you have to cut the strips about the thickness of the thickest setting on your pasta machine. Place it there nicely, and then even it out, smooth it out. You see, I'm using just a pencil because I cannot find my faithful blue paintbrush, who's not faithful anymore. And then take another, after you check well to make sure that everything is nice and stuck on the bottom, take another strip, and this time place it flat around the outermost part of the lid. Make sure that it's well stuck, because there we have all raw clay, it's not baked. Make sure that it's well stuck. I'll bring it back into view in a second. I had to get it close to my eyes. Make sure that it's well stuck to the top part of the lid, and that it's all nice and even around the lid. And then once you did that, you're pretty much ready to bake. You see that I evened it out and made sure everything is smooth. So make sure that you have a piece of paper under the lid, place another piece of paper on top of the lid, and then place that tile. If you don't have a tile like mine with a double side, then place another piece of paper under the body of the box. And this is how it looks like. You see, it's very pretty. The lid will not slide off, well, unless you put it upside down, but you can make this in all kinds of shapes, in all kinds of sizes, and with all kinds of patterns. Happy claying!